Happy Sunday to all of my listeners and to all of my followers. It's BT back doing yet another Brate podcast. Been away for a while. Kind of had some stuff going on with life and with me. So sorry for the noise. Sorry, not sorry. But anyways, looks like everything wants to be a little raggedy and jacked up. But that's all right. We're not going to let it stop us from what we're trying to do. I'm here to give you some good content. And that's what I'm going to do, dang it. I got a nice queue of topics in store for everyone today. So I'm looking at my tabs, and if you are following my page on Instagram at Brate Podcast, you're in for a treat because there are quite a few topics that I have to get into. I just want everyone to know, if I don't say this enough or you don't hear this enough from me, thank you for being patient. Before I continue, again, shout out to Grimecraft, the real MVP. Let me rock the music in the background. Sorry, I'm getting my headphones prepared because it looks like the set that I'm wearing wants to be a little finicky, but that's okay. We're not going to let technical difficulties slow me down because y'all know how I do. I just kind of keep it moving and just do what I do. So I'm going to be switching and swapping some stuff out, but still be continuing the podcast because that's just how I am. I run on fumes and that's all I know. So I will be the first to admit that the topics in store are quite a strong list of topics. That's the best way I can describe this. Since sports season is kind of picking up into its little mini high gear, most of my football fans will be a little excited because I actually slipped some football information into this podcast. We have Villanova's break clutch performance. Going to talk about the chase of history, the upcoming draft for the NBA, a prospect who looks like he's going to be allowed to go into the draft. I'll get into that as well. The countdown to the NFL draft, which I didn't realize is actually a little closer than I expected. A few prospects and options for teams. We're not going to really go over all the teams because I'm kind of selfish. I'm a Carolina fan. You already know how it go. We're going to chip at the brief start of the Major League Baseball season. And finally, we're going to jump right into the debacle and the chaos of Colin Kaepernick, because it looks like he's still a 49er, which is probably going to be the case by the end of the season. But you let the league tell it, there's other plans in store. So I'm not going to waste any time. I'm not going to bore y'all half to death. We're going to just go ahead and get started. So earlier this week, last week, since Sunday is a new week, on last Monday, I was asleep when the game was on, but Villanova and UNC played what was considered to be one of the top basketball games for March Madness ever. It turned out that they were able to I'll kind of give you the best scenario from what ESPN presented. Few seconds on the clock, UNC has the ball. Point guard, I can't think of his name, Page, gets double clutches a 3-point shot and drains it. So the game is tied. Game should be tied going to overtime. That's the end of it. Villanova brings the ball down to the other end. Guy brings it down, passes it back to his teammate, hits a wide open 3, knocks it down, game over. Mic drop, everything is what it is. So Villanova won the game. And the question is, so first off, before I go into this question, the interesting thing is, out of all of the March Madness tournaments, this was the first championship game that ended on a buzzer beater in a while. Because I'm sitting here ready to say ever, but then I had to really get embarrassed because I know somebody was going to fact check me. No, I did not forget about Houston, Phi Slama Jama, and North Carolina State, because Jimmy V, rest in peace. That is a game that we'll always remember, because Houston pretty much was supposed to have dominated that game based on stats and records. So as far as this game, how it ranks all time, it's an interesting process. But as far as legit game winners and closing shots, because there were a few, because even You even had the Duke game from 92 when they beat my squad, Kentucky, and made that into an interesting finish, or final finish, however you want to put it. There are quite a few endings that will always be remembered. So to make this, entitle it as the best ending or the best like all-time games, I'd put it in the top 5, maybe top 10. And the only reason why was because this game had what a lot of games lack, which is a lot of seniority. You had a lot of guys who were juniors and seniors playing on the team. You had some freshmen that played, but it wasn't as freshman strong as most games have been lately. So I would say top 5, maybe top 10, but more so top 5. I feel bad because I really can't talk in the full detail about the game because I really didn't watch it, but I did get some pretty good notes and pretty good information about it being an excellent game. And by the way, before I continue, because I don't know, I may need to check just to make sure, but if the sports group is still running on Facebook, hopefully we can make sure, because I haven't seen anything and kind of just went mute on us, and I'm not sure about why, and it's not my place, neither here nor there, but just something I wanted to bring up before I continue. So now that we got that conversation out the way, the chase is on. There are 2 games left for our infamous team known as the Golden State Warriors to pursue perfection. Currently, they're on pace. If they win the last 2 games, they're on pace to break the record. The key thing is, if they win tonight, they've tied. So right now they're playing against San Antonio. I need a quick score check, and I hate doing this because I shouldn't be in the middle of my podcast, but me being me, I don't care. It's my podcast. I can do what I want. Just that, having that kind of a moment. That's how I feel. If you hear any TV noise in the background, sorry, not sorry. You know how I go. I gotta do what I gotta do. But anyway, let's see where we're at. Right now, the game is currently. Okay, wait. I had to make sure I saw that. Y'all know I have no filter, and I have to really catch myself when I see stuff. So currently, the score at halftime, not at the end of the first quarter, at halftime, is 35-35. So to give you a little bit of mini in-between story with the game, it is currently being played in San Antonio, where San Antonio has lost, I think, only 1 game this year. And I think it was against Golden State, coincidentally. Don't hold me to it. I do not remember, but San Antonio's had a pretty strong run this year at home. Golden State took their 1 home loss against, of all teams, Boston. But hey, losing that game kind of makes each one of these games that much more important, because now it's pretty much them fighting to just close it out. Plain and simple, if they win tonight, there's a pretty strong chance they'll break the record, solely because their last game is against, of all teams, Memphis, which Memphis shouldn't be a bad choice, but it's in Golden State, number 1, and number 2, Memphis doesn't have many of their stars playing. Marc Gasol's out for the year. They've gone ahead and sidelined Conley. They're not going to let him play the rest of the year, because I think they are eligible for a playoff spot, but it's not by much. They still have Lance Stevenson, so he may kind of go off. Who knows? You know, we never can tell what we're going to get with our good old guy Lance Stevenson, but hey, that's just basketball, right? But I still give them a chance to break the record. I don't know. It's kind of almost one of those, you got to just wait it out and see what happens, because it can go exceptionally well or go horribly wrong, and that's just kind of how it is. So now we're going to get into, and I'm just being lazy. I'm not even going to I'm being lazy, but I'm being pretty transparent with what I'm about to do next. And I'm sorry, because I'm in here ready to pass out. If you do hear a fan in the background, I'm sorry, not sorry. I'm going to do something real quick. I'm going to get it to rotate and go away from the microphone and see if that works. maybe, possibly. If you can hear it, I'm just going to be honest. I'm going to talk as best as I can so you don't get overwhelmed with a microphone. But it's either microphone, no fan, I pass out, or microphone, fan on, and a chance of me finishing the podcast. I'm sitting here doing the podcast like I don't know how much time I have. Just going with it because you know how it is. But Chad Ford, our good old buddy who does the NBA draft prospects or the mock draft for the NBA, has gone ahead and produced his latest mock draft of guys who are possibly going to be going. So as of right now, the top 5 players on his board are Ben Simmons, Brandon Ingram, Dragan Bender from overseas in Croatia, Jamal Murray, and Buddy Hield. Now I'm gonna give you some honest insight to this before we go into numbers and breaking down stuff, because this is kind of gonna lead into my next topic. Buddy Hield is really gonna have to wow teams or scouts at Combine. I hope he plays in the Combine because that's pet peeve of mine. And if my boy Lonnie watching, I'm hoping that I'm off that day. I'm hoping I can pull off a cheat code because I'm definitely planning on watching the NBA Combine again this year, because every year you get to see, it's basically you take players who are trying to get into the NBA, put them in their regular gear because they don't have an endorsement, they aren't signed anybody. Now of course Ben Simmons is going to have his Nikes on, but he probably won't play because he knows he's going to be the number 1 pick, so he thinks. It all comes down to what team gets that pick and what they need. So just a matter of seeing what happens and how that all pans out. They have, let's see. So from looking at the list of players who are on the lottery board, they only have one player from Kentucky who is going, and that's Jamal Murray, number 4. Now I'm going to see if I can pull up the full list. I hope I can get the full list. If I do, then that would be so excellent. But if not, it never hurts to believe. All right, so it looks like we have an updated board as of the 7th. And of course, I can't get to that one. So the new board, I wouldn't be surprised, is going to have, sorry, I'm like over here really just trying to be everything and everywhere. Because I had music and I'm like, okay, can you hear music or can you hear fan? If you hear fan, I'm just going to chalk it up to, I'm going to work something out because killing me softly. But the latest news, because that was about to be really messed up if I said the newest news. The latest news is that there's a kid, Port City kid. There's a kid coming out from. He's a Sudanese born player coming from Australia. He's a Sudanese player, 7'1", from Australia. Played in high school in Canada. He's 19, so he's a year out of high school. Is going to put his name into the NBA draft. I don't know how I feel about this. And I'm going to be honest with you. I've looked at videos. They showed the highlights of what we like. Because when you see... Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and get this conversation out of the way now, because anybody who knows me knows I pay attention to everything. We've seen all of the good things for Thon Maker, what he can do as far as on the offensive end. They showed a little bit of defense. I went on YouTube, and if any of you have the chance, any of my sports heads, if you go on YouTube and look up Thon Maker draft weaknesses, you're going to see a lot of things that they're going to really point out once he officially decides to go pro, and once he's at like a combine or at a team practice or whatever you want to call it. I don't know where he's going to fit in, because he has a jumper. He can run the floor. Like, they use the term, which anybody, and this is probably, I don't want to do it, but I think I may do it because I'm off that day, thankfully. I'm probably going to do a drinking game for the NBA draft to see how many times they say motor, upside, and potential. NFL draft, it ain't happening. I'm going to tell you that right now, because the NFL draft, that's all you hear. And you got to think it's rounds of drafting for the NFL, because you have different positions and it's a much different process. I'm gonna get to that as well. Haven't forgotten. Y'all know how I get. But I'm jumping and standing strong on this Thon Maker topic because it kind of goes back to what I talked about a few podcasts ago on my old podcast, I believe, about guys who come out, they play a year, they look like they're good. Oh, this guy's gonna be nice. Oh, he's gonna be a beast. We need to get him on our team. He's gonna do damage. He's gonna do work. All that stuff. But I don't see it. I honestly just don't see it. But I guess it's going to come down to once he's in front of once the lights are on and once it's game time, are we going to see him really develop in the NBA? You can never tell how a player will or won't do in their league, in their sport or in that era until it occurs. Perfect example. I've been keeping an eye on a guy. He's going to Michigan State. He's probably going to leave after 1 year, but if I was him, I would stay and learn college basketball and come into the NBA as a force. Miles Bridges is going to be a name he's going to become a household name. Yeah, that's another drinking game word too, but we'll see. But Miles Bridges can play. Like, he has a jumper, he can dunk, he has quick footwork. I think the factor is going to be what are the intangibles that we're not seeing that's going to figure in whether he's going to be the next big thing or whether he's literally a here today, gone tomorrow. So just keep an eye out. I don't want to jump. I know I'm sticking strong on this topic, but it's just interesting because thanks to the one and done rule and then the added minimum age requirement being 19, he fits the mold. So it's like he can go, but it doesn't mean that he's going to be good. He's not Brandon Jennings. He's not Emmanuel Mudiay. Mudiay, we haven't seen much this year because he was in Denver. Bottom line. No pretty acute way to put it. So there's that. My next topic, since I have a page that didn't know, they said there's always an app for something. It's a site called Days2 or Days.to. If any of you are true football heads and want to know how far we are from the NFL draft, this page will tell you how many days, hours, minutes, and seconds we are from the draft. So as of nearly a half an hour ago, we were 18 full days away from the draft. Currently, we are less than 18 days away from the draft. Currently 17 days, 23 hours, 33 minutes, and about to be 3 seconds and counting. So we're getting close to the NFL draft. A lot of teams have needs. A lot of teams have wants, things that they're trying to go for. I'm going to be honest with you. There are 30 teams in the NFL. And if you think, before I get corrected and get called out, there are 32 teams in the NFL. Oh, wait, they don't have a first round. Oh, yeah, that's right. I think they lost their first round pick due to Spygate or Watergate, whatever it was. But there are 32 teams in the NFL. And the Carolina Panthers, of course, my squad, was supposed to do something, but they ain't do it right. No, in all honesty, they just didn't. When it got down to the big game, they disappeared. That's just what we're going to call it. But as far as our teams need, what they have, I'm on NFL.com. It looks like they're pointing out that our top need is an offensive tackle. Other needs are defensive end, defensive back, and a running back. So I guess they're looking at it as they want to have a way of being able to take a lot of pressure off of Jonathan Stewart, because when they let D'Angelo Williams go, it was kind of clear Stewart's going to be our main guy, but you need somebody else just in case he gets a flat tire. I know it's a bad analogy, but it's an honest assessment. So we'll see and keep an eye on how that all turns out and how that plays out. A few of my friends are Pittsburgh fans. Their top need is at cornerback. Other options are safety, offensive guard, and outside linebacker. You really don't, and I'm gonna say this about the NFL draft because I'm me, and I'm gonna keep it fully real and 100 and direct and to the point about the game. You can sit and look at players. You're not gonna know what half of them are and who and what they did. Even so bad to the point of looking at the infamous, well, hey, this player has so many how did they break it down? This player ran a 3.940. Okay, he ran a 3.940, but can he catch the ball? Can he, how is he on his feet? Can he get to a quarterback? Can he stop a lineman from getting to a quarterback? Like, those are the intangibles that you don't see in combines, in NBA combine, NFL combine. You don't see those things. NBA combine is the exact opposite. It's totally different. It's how would you, and I'm going back to the draft a little bit since we're already in the draft conversation. How exactly would Thon Maker look? Because he's technically considered to be a guard or a forward. He's not going to be a center. I can tell you that now. His 7'1" and lanky as crap. Like, he has no weight. Unless he gets in the gym and works out, he's going to be checking Durant. He's going to be checking LeBron, which is not going to make sense, but it is what it is. Because putting him against Andrew Bogut's going to just throw 50 moves on him and fake him out of his shoes. Or Brook Lopez, even Robin Lopez. And I'm not even putting Robin Lopez down because the dude can ball. He just gets put in the wrong teams at the wrong time. But those guys are going to give Thon Maker problems because Thon Maker is not center / big man oriented. Just something you got to look at. So don't worry, I didn't break the mic and I didn't fall. I'm okay. Water went to the wrong place, and that's where we're at. We're gonna leave it there. Next topic. I'm running down. I'm down to my last two. Thank you all if you have been tuned in this long. I appreciate you. You are the real MVPs. I'm gonna be working more because currently, as most of you know, my podcast is solely. I'm doing and I made this announcement on Snapchat at Bright82. I'm probably going to be switching up a little bit, but this is going to be a solely sports-based podcast. I will keep my other podcasts up, likely to throw my random, reckless, and inappropriate podcast, but it is what it is. Anyway, the big story so far is about, I don't even know the guy's first name. Trevor Story has started off the career pretty strong. Currently 6 games into the season, he has 7 home runs. That's been the big story that I've heard about. I missed it because I really didn't keep up with a lot of baseball too much, but I did know that there was a pitcher who had a good chance of getting a no-hitter. It got ruined, I think, in the 8th inning. But I do get my baseball fixings. I've been keeping up. Baseball is so long. And I tell everybody this all the time. Baseball, you kind of have to almost catch in mid-form. Like, you have to catch it after the All-Star game. After All-Star game, it picks up a little bit because teams are competing for positions. Players are getting traded. A lot of pitchers who are on teams that they just shouldn't be on get sent to teams where they actually have a chance to fit in and shine and show out. So there's that factor of it as well. So I'll be pushing to get some MLB information as time progresses. I'm going to be researching and I'm going to be learning. So hopefully any of my MLB fans or viewers will tune in. And yes, I know I left hockey out, but hey, I'm me. Bad enough this month on this podcast, I didn't do anything about soccer because Chelsea took a tough blow against Swansea City, if I'm not mistaken, 1-0, and I'm still kind of salty about it. Just haven't talked about it because it's just not where I'm at. So there's that. And now my final topic of the night is about my favorite quarterback who has not moved an inch but has gotten more attention in the NFL because they don't know where he's going to be at the start of the 2016 season. And that is our good old buddy Colin Kaepernick. The story was that he was supposed to go to Denver. The problem is money talks, bullshit walks. I didn't put the explicit content checkbox off. If I did, thank goodness. If I didn't, I'm sorry. But I'm just keeping it 100. Colin Kaepernick is a pretty solid quarterback. I was getting ready to say a great quarterback. He's not elite because we don't want to get into this discussion, because this is the discussion that you have to have the right people at the round table to have this conversation. What I'm going to say is this. Kaepernick had the pieces to get to the Super Bowl. They got to the Super Bowl. They met the Ravens. The Ravens were at an all-time peak, and you had one of the top defenses at that time play. After that game, or after that season, Kaepernick was trying his hardest to get back to that Kaepernick. Where and what happened, I have no idea. But I think this past season, it was almost like they wanted to make it clear that they were getting rid of him, but they didn't know how to do it. And it looks like as of right now, they still don't know how. And it sucks because it shouldn't be this hard to just make the numbers work to get somebody in the right place. But right now, it's looking like it comes down to just money. The story that I'm looking at now, we have let me see who this is. Miles Kliss of 9 News. I'm guessing that's a local news station. The Broncos aren't budging off their current offer to Kaepernick. And I think the current offer is... Let's make sure I get the right number, because I don't want to give out numbers that I don't like. To pay him $7 million salary, which would give him a chance to compete with Mark Sanchez. Because Sanchez currently is the QB in Denver right now. Good move, bad move. Good move, bad move. Who knows? We'll find out. They can't bring in Kaepernick hoping he's going to be the future and the Messiah, and he doesn't fix anything. So it just comes down to whether he's willing to be that guy. Because some quarterbacks can't be that guy. I'm just going to put it out there. Aaron Rodgers is that guy. Russell Wilson is that guy. Cam Newton, that guy. When he was in the league before retirement, Peyton Manning, that guy. Eli Manning, whether we want to admit it or not, that guy. He knows when to step in and do it, play his part. And I think every quarterback just handles that position differently, and you just have to know what you're doing. So that's where I'm at with that. Under the 2-minute mark, I'm going to close it out. What do I think is going to happen? I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to go ahead and get into my mic drop. I really feel like Kaepernick will probably end up staying with San Francisco. If they make the money, if they put the right numbers down on paper, then they could do it. They could pull off the trade and make it happen, but it's just coming down to numbers. And that's numbers sometimes work and sometimes they don't, especially with the collective bargaining agreement that the NFL has now. So we'll see what happens. We're just going to keep our eyes on it. Probably next week, I might have to eat crow. And if I do, it's okay. It's the way sports goes. But anywho, I'm going to close out here. I truly am glad to be back. I'm sorry I left you all. I've been working stupid hours, been living life, been making moves, trying to do 101 things. But all I can tell you is I'm back. I'm going to be doing these more often. I'm going to be pushing my sports podcast. If you have topics, if you have ideas, if you have thoughts, bring them to the table. I'm willing to talk about them. Believe it or not, this might sound dumb. If you got Wi-Fi, internet, I will bring my setup to your house. Like, that's where I'm at. All I got is the mic, the laptop, and me. And soon a mixer, because that's what I need to get to the next level. Just saying. But anyways, if you're not already following, check me out on Facebook, Brad Tate Podcast. If you're not following on Instagram, Brad Tate Podcast. Check out my personal my personal page, Brad Tate 82, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and on Snapchat. Snapchat, I do a lot of mini promos there as well. Clock's looking at me, I'm looking at it, and that's where I'm at. So I'm going to close out here. Y'all be good, stay blessed, stay positive, do something worthwhile in your life. Bring it, don't swing it, and I'm out. Peace.